The Nest, written by Anthony Carabache, illustrated by Odessa Carabache, narrated by Michelle Carabache. Robin hated brushing her hair. It was tedious and boring work. On Sunday, when her mother offered to do it for her, Robin would hum and haw about it for a minute, but then wander off, promising, but not really promising, to do it later. One day, her mother said to Robin, "Young lady, if you don't brush your hair, the birds flying south for the winter may just land on your head thinking it's a nest." Robin didn't even hesitate to respond, "Mommy, that's silly." And then she muttered, "Besides, I'm not a lady, I'm only 9 years old." On Monday, when Robin was getting ready for school, her mother popped into her room and said, "Robin, please brush your hair before you go to school today." Robin thought about it and even reached for her brush, but one of her dolls needed a good brushing even more. So she ran the brush through her doll's hair, and before she knew it, it was time to go. "Young lady," her mother said, "if you don't brush that hair, the birds flying south for the winter may just land on your head, thinking it's a nest." Robin didn't even hesitate to respond, "Mommy, that's silly." And then she muttered, "Besides, I'm not a lady, I'm only 9 years old." Robin went to school and came home. On Mondays, she usually had swimming lessons. After swimming lessons, Robin's mother asked her to brush her hair, as the pool water and the hair dryers would have left it in tatters. Robin thought about it, but felt too tired from a long day, followed by a 5 o'clock swimming lesson. So she promised her mother she'd do it after dinner. But she forgot. She watched 4 episodes of her favorite TV show instead. "Young lady," her mother said, "if you don't brush your hair, the birds flying south for the winter may just land on your head, thinking it's a nest." Robin didn't even hesitate to respond, "Mommy, that's silly." And then she muttered, "Besides, I'm not a lady, I'm only 9 years old." Robin went to bed and fell asleep, and even dreamed marvelous dreams of swimming underwater without needing to take a breath. The next morning, even Robin was surprised when she looked at the mirror. Her hair had tangled up. Well, a little more than just a bit. She went to open her curtains to look outside through her bedroom window and was shocked to find a single bird perched on the windowsill, looking ever so curiously at her. "Weird bird," said Robin. "Shoo, shoo!" And the bird flew away. Robin continued with her morning routine, but found a headband to put in her hair to make it look a little better. She could hardly get the headband to sit right, but she forced it on. Robin's mother, sitting at the breakfast table, looked up from her laptop and said, "Young lady, I'm telling you, if you don't brush that hair, the birds flying south for the winter may just land on your head, thinking it's a nest." Robin didn't even hesitate to respond, "Mommy, that's silly." And then she muttered, "Besides, I'm not a lady, I'm only 9 years old." And then aloud, "But don't you like my headband? It's funky colors." Robin gobbled up her breakfast and headed out for school. On her way to school, a peculiar thing happened. She noticed 2 birds hopping along beside her. "That's odd. Weird birds," she muttered. Robin went to class and had a fantastic day. She came home and immediately jumped onto her tablet to play her favorite game. She created a new character named Violet Blue and worked on the avatar for hours. Her last touches were on Violet Blue's lengthy hair. Finally, she was finished. "Hey, Mommy, you should come and look at my super cool avatar." "Wow, she's pretty awesome, Robin. Nice hair. Do you think you may want to brush yours to look like hers?" "I will, Mommy, as soon as I take Violet Blue for a walk around the game world." "Young lady," her mother said, "if you don't brush that hair, the birds flying south for the winter may just land on your head, thinking it's a nest." Robin didn't even hesitate to respond, "Mommy, that's silly." And then she muttered, "Besides, I'm not a lady, I'm only 9 years old." Robin spent the rest of the afternoon playing her game, completely forgetting to brush her hair. No surprise there. That night, she had sweet dreams as she became Violet Blue, walking around an endless neighborhood, visiting friends, reading books, and building houses. The next morning, Robin woke up drooling on her tablet, which had, of course, drained its battery. In the reflection of the dead tablet, even Robin could see that her hair was a complete mess. She remembered that her mother had told her she had an early meeting so that she'd be on her own this morning. Phew! I woke up just in time to get to school. Surprisingly, this morning Robin grabbed her hairbrush, but when she tried to put it through her hair, it was so entangled she accidentally snapped the brush in half. Whoa, she said. Maybe I'll ask Mommy to brush it for me after school. She packed her lunch and left for school. Robin began her walk to school, but only halfway down her own street, she noticed the most peculiar sight she'd ever seen. A small flock of 10 little birds landed only a few feet ahead of her, chirping. She moved to the left, and they moved to the left. She paused. She moved to the right. Then they moved to the right. How absurd! She turned around to go back towards her house, but the birds flew right over her head and landed in front of her again. This is ridiculous, Robin yelled, but the birds remained determined. Then, unexpectedly, the smallest little bird jumped into the air and landed right in Robin's hair. Robin froze. There was a bird in her hair. The bird, as cute as it was, began pulling little strands around her feathered body until she was all but covered in a dirty blonde blanket of Robin's hair. Robin didn't move. She had no idea what to do. Just then, a second little bird, seeing how comfy her flockmate was, nestled in Robin's hair, decided to join her. He flew directly onto Robin's head, landed next to the other little bird, and promptly adjusted the nest to his liking. Robin decided to march herself to school and was determined to get by the rest of the birds. She didn't dare touch the birds on her head. Shoo! She yelled at the remaining 8 birds on the sidewalk, and off they flew. She walked the remaining painstaking minutes to school, where her friends and the other students could only stand frozen, gawking at her. Robin sat down at her desk, pulled out her textbook, and all the rest of the class could do was sit and quietly stare. Even the teacher didn't dare teach a single lesson for fear of scaring the little birds away. The end. This has been a Carabache family production.